Hi, this is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team. I am here with the beautiful, amazing, smart Kerry Zarb from BizNation. We are going to be talking today about, can you have fun in business and really be profitable? Welcome, Kerry, to the My Sexy Business show.
Thank you, Kim. It's great to be here.
I'm excited to hear all your brilliance. I am privy. I'm just going to say I am privileged because I do know a lot of the brilliance of this woman. She is a very powerful woman. Do not be deceived for a second with that sweet voice. She knows her stuff. So I want to get right into the fun and profitability connection, Kerry. Is that okay with you?
Sure, I'll probably stumble a few times, but let's do it anyway. Awesome.
Anyone that's on this page knows that my philosophy is messy is beautiful, and so we will be messy along the way, and I'm good with that because we're doing something. Everybody that wants to armchair quarterback can check out. So, Kerry, tell me what your definition of having fun in business would be. I'd like a description for anyone listening who thinks that we're kind of crazy talking about business and fun in the same sentence.
Oh, listen, Kim, I think they just naturally go hand in hand. They have to, right? Because who wants to turn up and not have fun? That's just my whole philosophy about business is you need to enjoy it. And I'm really fortunate that I've, put myself in a position and been able to position myself where I can have fun. And for me, that means, whether it's a variety of work that I actually do for my clients, or it might actually be where I do it and who I'm doing it with, or whether it's the environment. So, since COVID and we've all been sent to our room, then obviously we've got a little bit more flexibility. And for me, it's about having a bit of music in the background and, making the day fun. You might be like on my side, I might be crunching the numbers, which to a lot of people is like, ugh, kill me now, like that type of attitude. But I turn it into some fun because A, I see it as a challenge, and B, to have a good beat behind it while you're doing it, something that's not distracting, normally, something without lyrics. But you can turn that stuff up. You can really make it interesting and exciting. And we've got the power, we've got the technology, we've got all the tools, and, YouTube has such an arrangement of fun tracks that you can play in the background. So that's what I do.
Love that answer. So is it a myth or is it a fact? Since you are a numbers girl, you will know this better than most people. Is it a profitability issue when it comes to having fun? Does fun take away from how profitable your business is?
I really don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because we've got to look at what's going to make us more productive, more efficient. And I believe personally, whether it's yourself as the business owner or team members, if they want to come to work, if you want to turn up and you want to enjoy what you're doing, that's just critical. If you kind of procrastinate and you're kind of putting it off and all that kind of stuff, that's not efficient. That's not going to be profitable in a business. So if you can turn your business space, whether it's, again, yourself as the business owner or the team members, into something more exciting and more enjoyable, that brings the profitability for me. It really does.
Oh, I've witnessed the same. I just wanted you to address it because I definitely second that it is a fact that you can be way more productive and way more profitable when you are having a good time. So let's dive into something else. You are a podcast extraordinaire. You have the BizNation podcast. You actually have two podcasts. I want to point that out. But I'd like to talk about your BizNation podcast. I have been listening to your episodes, and I am a big fan, just so everybody knows. I think everybody should go sign up and subscribe to BizNation podcast. I'll say that 12 more times. But one of the things I love about how you're doing your podcast, and I really want to be more like you when I grow up, is that you have done two different kinds of podcasts in the same week on the same podcast, but you have given one great long form podcast, which is the interview of someone else. And then also you have another shorter version of a really hot business tip. And I have to tell you, I was listening to one of the, well, I've listened to both today, but one of those tips, you were so amazing in the startup space as far as, and you're based in Australia. I do want to like put that out there. So we go to someplace different in the US to get our business name and those kind of things. But you are so brilliant in the fact that you were talking about what else you need to do at the same time to brand yourself on all the social media platforms, even if you don't think you're going to use them, so that you match with your business name. Can you talk about that just for a second? Because that is a brilliant move.
Yeah, listen, Kim, that came from self-discovery, if I confess. It really was a case of way back, and I won't say how long, I had done this. And a lot of the solo episodes that I bring to my show are for that very reason. My true I guess, purpose of the podcast was to help other business owners, whether they're just starting out or they're already in business. So for me, what I've experienced and those hurdles and hiccups that I've come across was just so important to get out to the listeners so that someone else may not then encounter that pain point, might actually get that little head start. And we all know that if we can get together and collaborate and, have these joint experiences where someone asks a question and someone turns around and goes, yeah, I need the answer to that. So that's where the thinking has come from. And I confess, when I started the podcast, it was very, very rigid. Like I started with, it was actually a really, really messy start, just to take a page out of your book. It was not really a structure to it, but it evolved into, I would have a guest, I would do a solo, I would have a guest, I would do a solo. And then, with the introduction of new things in the world and in my life, I kind of dropped that for a while and I went strictly to the interview space. And then, excuse me, recently I was like, oh, hang on, I miss turning up. I actually want to keep giving these pieces of advice. And, you have those moments where you do a little brainstorm session and you're like, oh, yeah, that happened. Oh, yeah, that happened. I've got to tell them about this. So when I came back to the solo episodes, which was just recently, that was the first thing I did. Like, oh, my God, I've missed you guys because, I really had. I had missed turning up. So, yeah, I just brought out this, new schedule and kind of change things up a bit. And at the time, I confess, I was toying with starting another show for that structure and for those episodes. But man, I'd already started a second podcast and I thought, how much do I really, we know, Kim, how much is involved in putting a podcast together. It's fantastic. I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world, but there's a lot of work. So I thought, you know what, I'll mix it back into the existing show because it was relative to the topic and the whole podcast itself. And yeah, it's great to be back. It really is. I just love sharing those insights, and some of it's come from questions from other people that I circle with, other biz buddies that I have, but a lot of it is self-discovery. And yeah, I love delivering those short, sharp episodes because that's truly where my passion lies, is to help others and so that they don't, encounter those roadblocks and have those problems. But to your point about the branding, when you start with your business name and, grabbing those social handles, I really messed that up. Like, I messed that up so much that I had to share. I had to tell others, please get your business name, get your social handles, get it all, get everything all in one shot, because it makes life later so much easier as you want to grow and expand and really hit your, hit the ground running as you grow in your business.
I do want to say that one thing I do know for sure about you is that your heart is to help people not be in those places of pain, because it is a pain when you have invested so much into creating a business and then you didn't have the foresight to do something like that. So you have an extremely valuable thing to add, personally. But then you go on to interview people like Vera Lee or Jay Manning, who are they're rocking their businesses and they shared the amazing sauce that they bring to the table. You add your awesome sauce with theirs. So I feel like the whole thing is amazing. I just want to say that out loud.
Thank you,
You're,
Kim.
you're welcome. You're doing a great job. Anyone who is interested, you are found on all of the places that podcasts are. So please go and, subscribe to Kerry's channel. Again, BizNation Podcast, so that you can get those tidbits and those great interviews. I actually took notes. Well, I take notes a lot of times when you're talking because I appreciate the things that you tell that I can implement. So it's not just talking about business, it's actually things that people can go and actually do right now. So I love that. So thank you. Thank you for that.
No, you're very welcome. And to your point about the guests, like obviously meeting people and having those conversations is amazing. Like I feel so privileged to be able to meet all these people and interview them and bring what you said, Kim, their awesome source to the program, because I'm not the expert in everything. And I don't believe in the word expert. I think it's really about having, all business minds come together and share their experiences, because everyone's in a different, industry or category, or however you want to kind of claim that. But yeah, to, bring these amazing people to the show. Like I stress the word amazing because they're all rock stars, and, to be able to bring them to the show as well and fill in the gaps of the knowledge that I don't have, but even their journeys. Some of them on the show actually share the things that they ran into, and it might be stuff that I didn't run into or people haven't asked me. So yeah, heaps going on. It's so cool.
I love it. Well, I don't want to just focus on that because I want to focus on the community that you're also building, because you are building an amazing community. I'll let you tell about it. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I started at the same time I started the podcast. I started a Facebook community group for small business owners, and it went hand in hand. It just made sense to actually have the podcast and the Facebook group at the same time, because podcast is a one-way conversation. Like, it's not, we're putting our goods out there, in the podcast. But I wanted to engage. I wanted to connect, and have listeners and just those that even don't tune into podcasts have a platform to have a voice and ask their questions and engage in some conversation and have some fun, because that's got to come into it as well. So yeah, at the same time as I launched the podcast, I started the Facebook group. The Facebook group has evolved. It has changed. I love changing furniture. Like, I don't take holidays, so I just change the furniture all the time. And it was a really, I feel fortunate because I think we've over 300 members now, which in the Facebook group space is not huge. But I literally started that group thinking, if I get 50 people, oh my God, that would be insane. I would just be so excited to have 50 people in a group talking about business and again, having fun. So to hit 300, it's been a long journey. Like, it's been 12 months, but man, that's super cool. Like, just all these people from all over the world now. Like, it, originally started in Australia and it quickly went international. And yeah, to have those people, they send me messages, with ideas. They're actually helping me evolve the group as well to make it more interesting. And I put that out there. I actually often ask the community, what do they want? What do they need? What are they looking for? So the name of the group is now BizNation Support Group. It was originally Micro and Small Business Support Group, so a lot of people know it as that name, but I changed it because I needed to, connect it to the podcast and really think about, what it was for, what's the purpose, and really it's to continue the conversation and, have more engagement and more opportunities for everyone. So I love that.
I love that you're co-creating the group with the group. It makes people feel like they are heard when you are actually implementing things that they're talking to you about. And I love that. I love your heart. That's what I'm going to say. And I love that you are, I am obsessed with collaboration. Anyone that stands next to me has to know that I am like constantly trying to figure out collaborations. And I think you are a lot that way as well. I think you are always looking to help someone and looking to listen. And even though, like you said, the podcast is a one-way conversation, you have provided the other side of the conversation for everybody to come to. And I just admire you for that. I think that that's an amazing thing.
Oh, thanks, Kim.
You're so welcome. So now I want you to tell me, I'm like getting all, excited. I want you to tell me what your favorite part of your business is. I'm going to ask all kinds of hard questions.
Oh, that is a hard question, because to identify one thing, like, wow, I think, geez, Kim, like, honestly, put me on the spot. I love it. I love it. There's a love-hate relationship there. I love and hate at the same time. Listen, I can't define it down to one thing, because, like I said before, I've got so much variety in how I serve my clients and the things that I bring to the party. But man, I love the conversations. I really love the conversations when you're bouncing backwards and forwards with a client. They might be stuck on something and they need a solution to something. To be able to have those conversations and nut it out and explain it so that they understand it, that is one of my key favorite things, really, just to hone in and almost try to get their brain in my brain and see how we can do things better and see how we can make things more efficient or more profitable, whatever they're looking for, because obviously there's an arrangement of questions that come my way. But man, that collaboration and working together like that just blows my mind, that's even a thing, and it works and it's fantastic. And yeah, so it's working with people that I enjoy the most.
You can tell it fires you up. That's what I was trying to get to. I love that fiery little spirit that you've got of, really loving what you do. I'm a huge proponent of creating a sexy business and a sexy life, and that is part of the formula is to love what you're doing. A lot of people will go to work, and I use the word differently. They'll go to work and they hate what they're doing. And I believe that there is a way to cross over to where you do love what you're doing. And if anyone listening needs help with that, Kerry's a great example, and she's also a great person to connect with, because she can help you figure out how to leave a work, or a day job, whatever you want to call it, and not just have a side hustle, but to actually make the transition into full-time business. And I love that you share that. I love the little nuggets you have dropped on the podcast, but I love that you have done that versus you're just telling what somebody else has done. I think you are very special in our industry because you are telling your story. You are transparent about, if you don't know an answer, you're willing to go help them find an answer, but that you're transparent about your adventure.
Oh yeah, probably too transparent, if I'm honest.
No. So if someone is looking to leave the work they hate behind and transfer over to a business that they love and is profitable, because I'm going to always poke on that part. It's not a business if you are not able to profit from it, because it needs to support you. If you're doing something as a hobby, then use it as a hobby. But if you're doing something as a business, find out from somebody like Kerry how to make that profitable so that you are supporting your life with the business that you love. I think that's a really key component to what I preach on the daily, and so do you. I think that that's a big part of why we're able to connect so strongly, is because we both believe that. you have a cute saying about yours that you go from headache to heaven in a heartbeat, right? I got it
Yep.
right? Okay.
Yep, you did. Well done.
I just want to make sure. But that's because Kerry can help you do that. I do want to say that. It's being a solo business owner or a solopreneur, as a lot of people call that, or being alone in business is what I just flat out call it. It is difficult, and I think it's way more difficult than if you have someone in your corner that's helping you get to that place that you really want to be. And I'm going to give a little tiny experience, Kerry, and then I want you to give me your experience about this as well.
Yeah.
I was kind of stubborn in the beginning because I didn't understand the value of having someone help me in like moving me forward quickly. I didn't understand that value a lot of times in my younger life. And so I would plow through something and do it, but I could have saved a lot of time, a lot of headache, a lot of money, a lot of everything by having someone who had done it before me show me the ropes. When I learned that, everything changed for me because it was quick. Like I could implement things quickly that would actually change even the profitability of things. So I would love to know how you learned that lesson or how that came about, that you are so amazing at helping people who need to learn that and need to learn the value of having someone like you in their life.
Okay, let's go back. So I was born. No, honestly, I think I everything I bring is from, like I was saying before, it's those experiences that I've had. Now, this is the full confession, and I don't even know if I've ever publicly mentioned this, but my first business, absolute epic fail. Full fail. No even question about it. Not even a little bit of glimmer of, oh, well, that was okay. No, there was nothing okay. But confession as well, I was 21. Like I was very young. And although I'd grown up in a family of business owners, my parents were both business owners, but like you're a kid, you don't really fully see behind the scenes. You don't fully understand what it all means, and as well, we go through school. They don't teach us in school about a profit and loss. They don't teach us about running a budget. Yeah, we do maths and, all those other, I'd love to say amazing classes, but I'm not a believer in the school system, so I struggle there. But you know what I mean? Like we do all these different subjects, and it's supposed to, set us up for success in life. But I don't believe it. It doesn't happen like that. So we have to learn the hard way, and that's exactly what I did. I started a business. I didn't have a clue, and walked away with debt and needed time to recover from that before I could start the next adventure. I was always born to be a business owner. I know that truly in my heart, but at the same time, I had to learn, and sadly, I had to learn the hard way. So for me, it was really a case of, from that first experience and being such, I'd love to say bad experience, but I don't regret it because it's brought me to where I am today. Yeah, just, going through that journey and learning so much from that. And then from there being the sponge of everything, like literally, like my life became a walking sponge. Like if you could picture a sponge on my head right now, that's me. Like I'm just a walking sponge, and I still am. And I think we all still are, because I don't, it doesn't matter where you're up to in your business journey, you're still learning. And if anyone thinks that they're not learning, they need to have a discussion in the mirror, because it's just not true. We're all still learning. So, and with that, I've gone on a bit of a tangent and forgotten your question, Kim. Did I answer it? I'm lost now.
You did great. No, you did great. And I agree with you. I feel for the teachers. I will say that. I feel for the school system, like failing the teachers as well,
Yeah.
because they're required to teach things that maybe are not the things that we need in real life. So I do like completely understand what you're saying about people coming out with no idea, and when we're young, but I'm going to poke on something else. When we get older, a lot of times we realize our education, and it may not even be like from a school system, but our education has not been good enough to get us the understanding of what you're talking about, the balance sheets, the the financial things that will make or break a business. People don't want to get real with their numbers because they're scary, they're intimidated, by them, because they don't understand what they really mean. And they
Mm.
sometimes don't want to face what they really mean.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
another thing. I know that
Yeah.
you are really you light up when someone talks to you about like their return on investment, or you light up when you see where something percentage wise is not working, what it's costing you to produce something. Or I think that that's a super amazing gift that you have, that someone who does not have that needs a Kerry in their life. That's what I think. Because that's hard.
Yeah, it is. Can I give an example to
Example
that?
to
I've
that.
got the perfect example. So, just for anyone listening or tuning in, honestly, one of the biggest pet hates that I have, and I experienced this with a client, and this is why it's the forefront of my mind. I had a client that did radio advertising. Now, radio advertising, I'm not sure for everywhere else in the world, but here in Australia, you don't get any stats. Like, you don't get any numbers. You don't know what's happening because they can't track how many people are listening. They can't track how many people heard your ad or anything like that. Everyone's in the car or, in the workplace or, in the house doing their housework. There's no stats on radio advertising. And this really, really bothered me a lot when I came across it in this business and this client, because I was like, well, hang on a minute, we're spending all this money on radio advertising. And I say we because I treat all clients like it's my own. And I was just like fascinated as to, well, how do you know what happened? How do you know if it was successful? Like you said, Kim, the ROI is just so important in business. And I remember sitting there one day going, well, you know what people do? Because I actually drove in the car to the office that day and I was listening and I heard the ad and I went, oh my God, there it is. That's amazing to actually hear it live for the first time. And I'd probably heard it before, but just, wasn't in tune with it. And then I went, oh my God, that person's heard that ad. They've gone home. 3 weeks later, they've sat there and gone, oh, I need this now. And they think back to the ad. But then they've gone on Google and they've literally gone, what was the name of that place? Oh, yeah, that's right. And they'll Google it in. So then in the business, that becomes an ROI on the Google, because they were doing Google ads, they were doing Facebook ads and radio and print media and all these other things, but they couldn't get the statistic and they couldn't get that true ROI for those radio commercials. And it blew my mind. I was literally like, well, do we need to spend this money? Like, I couldn't help but kind of question it because there's no stats to it, Does that kind of make sense, Kim? Because it blew my mind. I was floored.
This makes sense. And I think that that's, to that point, even broader than just that particular thing. We spend money on things that we've been told will work, and then we never check to see if they actually work. We
Oh,
we spend money on ads, or we spend money on all kinds of things that we cannot check. And the sad thing about it is the industries that do not have the stats, it always makes me wonder why. Like, it always makes me wonder why you can't at least have something to give me an explanation of something. Because I'll be honest, I hear things on it, like, on the radio or somewhere. When I Google something later, I don't even know if I come to the same thing because something looks enticing. So I may be doing advertising on the radio for somebody else
yeah.
because because I'm not at the top of the Google list or something. Like, I just want to say that too, that there's a lot of variables, and if you want to figure that kind of stuff out, I'm going to go back to my advice from the beginning. You need to call Kerry. you need to seriously consider what she can bring to your business. And she's probably a little caught off guard, I'm going to tell you, because this is an interview, and I definitely know my place in the interview, but I am so appreciative to find someone who actually knows numbers, who actually is not scared of them, and actually will show up for you as a new business owner. A lot of people who are really good with numbers don't want any part of a new company. They want the old companies because they are the ones that have the big fat paychecks.
Oh,
And so I think it's true, though. I think our industry, you know, industries, I shouldn't limit it. I think our industries are guided by that. And, you cannot blame someone who does numbers that wants a fat paycheck. You cannot. That's a good thing. But I do think that you are called in a different way to really help people who don't have the opportunity to work with someone that is going to cost them, $10,000 to even get an appointment. And so I want to really highlight that part, that if they call you, they can at least have a strategy call where they can figure out what you can do to help them.
absolutely. And that's the key part, Kim. I think, with any relationship, and I call it part of the team, I think this is one thing that I really am trying to get out to a lot of business owners. For those that think that they're doing it alone, they aren't, and they don't need to be, because others have done it, others have been there. And when you start a business and you might be just one little person offering one little service, or whatever the case, you can grow a team, and that team becomes so valuable to you, because we need people. You said it before, Kim, we need people in our corner, like as a solopreneur. It's lonely, it's hard, it's not easy. So to make connections with people that can help you, assist you and guide you, and become a team member, and that can look like many different things, and it doesn't need to be expensive. I think that's another part that a lot of small business owners miss, is that they think that there's these massive price tags attached to any piece of advice and any kind of help, and it's not the case. It's really not the case. So it's definitely worth exploring, people that can take so much pain away. And I think you said it as well, Kim, move in that forward direction in a faster motion and start to get those results so much quicker is so beneficial to a business as well. But yeah, like, I love chatting with people, and I love all the nerdy questions. I just love that space so much. And it can be an arrangement of things. And like so many other professionals, we bring so much to the table. It's not just a case of, one tiny little question, one tiny little answer. Like, there's a whole conversation to be had, and there's so much to unpack, but it's achievable, and people need to know that that's available and that's an option. I offer a free discovery call, so I love people to reach out to me and have that conversation and know that there's no price tag. Let's chat, let's talk about it. What are the hurdles? What are the hiccups? How can I help? Because that's really what I want to do. I just want to help people. That's, oh man, I can't preach it enough. I really can't.
This is not Kerry, but this is what happened to me, like, I don't even know, 25 years ago, something like that. I thought it was going to be extremely expensive to have a bookkeeper. Like, I needed a bookkeeper, and I would not call. I waited for probably 3 years. Like, it was a very long time, literally. And I kept plowing through doing my own stuff when I should have been working on, business stuff. I was trying to do all the things. When I finally called them, I obviously had made a mess of it because, trying to do too many things. But I also realized, and this has been, like I said, probably 25 years ago, and I know money is different now, so I don't want any pushback from anybody. I get it. But it was like $30 a month. It was nothing compared to the pain I had been going through to get it done myself. And so that is another thing that I want to say to anyone that's listening. This interview has not been about just, Kerry getting clients. This is about serving this audience something that they don't even know possibly, or be aware at least that it's possible to have someone on your team, like Kerry said, that can help you with this stuff, that it can take the painful out of it. And I just can't preach that enough. Like to if she's offering a call, why would you not call? That's my question.
And to that point, Kim, I think also, and kind of, leading on from this, we miss opportunities, as a small business, by not seeking help and, having those tiny, I consider them tiny expenses to take that heavy lifting and take, it may not be your area of expertise. If I could go back to if I could go back to school and start again, I would do accounting, I would do marketing, I would do there's so many opportunities out there, but we are individuals. We have our zone of genius. We are not going to be an expert in every single piece of the business pie. And man, I just pictured an apple pie there. That would be amazing. But do you know what I mean? Like we could, and you can get stuck exactly like you did, Kim. And so many of us do. I've been there as well. Full confession, like way too many times, where you get stuck in this little zone of, oh, but I've got to save money. I can't afford to spend money. But what you don't realize is you're actually hindering yourself from making more money. So yeah, preaching to the choir. Yep, absolutely.
Over time, Carrie, but I don't want to leave without asking you, is there anything else you want to, like, you want everyone to know, or is there anything I didn't ask you that you would like to just say to the audience, everyone who's listening?
Absolutely. My final message today is, if you have a business idea and you want to transition from the employee to being the business owner, it's so possible. It is so possible. I want to empower so many people to know that they can make that change, and don't fear taking those steps. You need a plan. You need a little plan behind you to make it happen, but you can do it. You can turn that hobby that's become your passion and your key purpose in life into that business. And I just think everyone needs to know that the opportunity's there. There's people out there looking for, products and services all over the world, and not even in your local area, but, you have the opportunity to be a global sensation, if I can really, set the benchmark that high, not to put pressure on people. But yeah, it's definitely achievable. And I just encourage anyone that's got ideas and passions and something that they want to pursue, just, do it, make it happen. We're in control. The world's our oyster. And I just think it's always the most perfect time to do these things. So thank you, Kim.
My goodness, Carrie, you rock my world every time we have a conversation, because you are so encouraging, but you also are very realistic with the fact that they need a plan. They need a plan to be able to do it, so that they're not suffering in the process.
Exactly.
I think a lot of things that you offer are the taking the suffering out of the process. So thank you for everyone who you help, and thank you for coming on today and giving our audience such great nuggets.
My pleasure. Thank you.
If you want to connect with Kerry, be sure and reach out. You can message us and we will get you connected. You can go straight to Kerry on all the platforms, because I did learn this. She is Kerry Zarb on all the platforms. Whatever it is, you can go and find her on any of them and send her a message and get connected. If nothing more, tell her what an amazing job she did today. So this is Kim White with the My Sexy Business Team. We will see you on Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time for the usual Friday edition. Thank you, everyone.